So I also want to we show Jake Tapper framing it and trying to villainize progressives as tanking this. Let's show Jake Tupperware's interview with a House moderate, Stephanie Murphy. She is a Florida congresswoman who is another Republican pretending to be moderate.
About this with Democratic Congresswoman Stephanie Murphy of Florida. She's the co-chair of the Blue Dog Coalition. That's a group of centrist Democrats. Congresswoman, good to see you again. So Speaker Pelosi just told CNN that tomorrow's vote on infrastructure could be delayed if she does not have the votes to pass it, which seems...
Colin, let's stop that for a second.
That seems to be...
So sorry to stop it right away, but what exactly is centrist about these people? Can we start asking, why do they use these terms? That's not just CNN, New York Times, Washington Post, all of them. What is centrist about voting against policies that have 60 to 70% approval and popularity in your district? You are a representative. What is centrist about that? I don't even understand why that term would be used when these people are voting against the people they're supposed to represent. You're supposed to represent the will of the people who voted for you. So what is centrist about that? Why are we calling moderates, Kirsten Sinema and Joe Manchin, moderates, when they are literally being cheerleaded on by Republicans for obstructing? This is why I've always said, folks, and people have kind of just, maybe they've heard it, but haven't understood it. It's fine. We should protest outside Pelosi's office. Sunrise Movement, that's great. Sunrise Movement wants to protest outside Mitch McConnell's office. That's great. You want to protest outside BlackRock? Great. You want to protest outside Amazon? Great. Politicians, corporations? Great. Why are there no protests outside CNN? Why are there no protests outside MSNBC, New York Times, Washington Post? Their addresses are public, folks. Why are these propagandists, these public relations stooges, masquerading as journalists, why are they allowed to do this in complete comfort? I'm not talking about anything other than protests, civil disobedience, no violence or anything. But we can't get 100 to 200 people outside CNN to shame them for this kind of coverage? Are you kidding? Continue, Colin.
That seems to be the situation. You've said if that happens, if she pulls the vote, it's a, quote, significant breach in trust among Democrats. Who would be committing that breach? Speaker Pelosi, the progressives, who?
As you may recall, we had a deal with Speaker Pelosi, and she put it in a statement that she would not only put the infrastructure bill up for a vote, but also rally the vote for that. And then every single Democrat in the House voted on a rules package that embodied that agreement. So we have the commitment of everybody that we are moving forward tomorrow on a vote on infrastructure. And it's so important that we do. It'd be a breach of trust with the American people. They've been waiting a long time.
Stop it right now, Colin. Stop it right now. A breach of trust with the American people? Oh my God. Have you been outside today? Have you been outside the last few weeks? Have you been seeing the candlelight gatherings? People just sitting there with their candles waiting for that infrastructure deal? Are you kidding me? A breach with the American people. Listen, I've been around the country for 6 years. Thank you to our Status Coup members for sending us. We need your help to fund these reporting trips. The roads are terrible. No doubt. Trust me, there aren't, people standing around just desperately waiting for the bipartisan infrastructure deal. You know who is? The U.S. Chamber of Commerce, a couple labor unions, Wall Street banks who are going to make money off of this privatized infrastructure deal. CNN never wants to mention that this is privatization on steroids, this infrastructure deal. It's all privatization. There's no public. It's not like the good old days of FDR. It's not government jobs. It's privatization. So Jake Tapper doesn't challenge, well, wait, you're saying, dishonor the agreement we made with the American people? Well, wasn't there an agreement with the American people that we would pass a $3.5 trillion reconciliation deal for universal pre-K, free community college, expanding Medicare to dental, hearing, and vision, massive dollars for affordable housing? You have in there paid family medical leave. There's a whole lot of other things in there. Is it Medicare for all? No, it's not. Is it toppling the duopoly and burning down the system? No, it's not. Is it incremental? No, I don't think it is. There's a lot of things in there that progressives have been fighting for many years that are not temporary, but structural systems. They are changing systems permanently, like Medicare, for example, like community college, for example, things not easy to be rolled back if a Republican gets in there. So we as progressives should still be fighting for the radical change, which I really think is going to come more outside of the system through economic boycotts, which I've talked about extensively, but we shouldn't poo-poo what's in this deal. So this woman's full of shit. She is a Republican pretending to be a Democrat down in Florida. Let's continue.
This investment into their roads and bridges, clean water, some climate change provisions, as well as broadband. There's so much good in this bill that
Stop it, Colin. I can't even get through 3 seconds of this without telling Colin to stop it. This liar, and of course, Jake Tapper, he probably knows this, but isn't going to challenge her. Biden originally proposed for this bipartisan infrastructure deal $2 trillion. It got stripped down to $500 billion in new money. So it was originally proposed by the president, $2 trillion. It's been watered down to $500 billion in new money. The only reason they're saying $1.2 trillion is because the rest of it is just money that's already been allocated being redirected. In this deal, the money has been stripped for climate proposals. There is no real climate proposal in this deal. So you got people like Stephanie Murphy going up there and lying that, oh, this deal has, important things for climate. You got Josh Geitheimer, who's another political terrorist, going on CNN, MSNBC, saying the same thing. There are no major climate proposals in this deal. And another majorly important deal. Another major important thing here. You have this talking point that this is going to fix America's water problems. No, it's not going to. Hey, I know a little bit about water if you've been following Status Coup. This is not going to fix America's water problems. The money in this deal is not even what has been asked for in terms of replacing lead pipes all over this country. Not to mention lead pipes, and Jen and I talked about this the other day. It's not just changing lead pipes. Lead is not the only thing contaminating our water. You could change every lead pipe in the country. It would be a major thing. It would definitely be a good thing and helpful, particularly to children. It really does not do much to stop the industrial pollution and dumping of waste into our waterways that's causing a lot of cancer-causing carcinogens to be dumped into your water. It's not doing much on PFAS, which is PFAS, which are cancer-causing chemicals. They are byproducts of the manufacturing process of non-stick cookware. So this is not fixing America's water problems, and that's just nonsense. Keep going.
And it must have the full support. And I have no doubt that President Biden and Speaker Pelosi, with all their years working on the Hill, in the Senate and in the House, that they can get this done when they put their shoulder into this and ensure that the votes are there.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but the deal that Speaker Pelosi cut was that there would be a vote on infrastructure a few days ago, on Monday. And not only that there would be a vote, but that it would pass. So the breach has already happened.
You get the point. First of all, when he says, well, the breach has already happened. No. The breach, the president said these things have to be voted on together. Pelosi said these things have to be voted on together. Then she, for some reason, agreed to the bipartisan deal being voted on the 27th, which that was the breach. See, that was the breach. These things were supposed to be together, and Pelosi breached it by putting forth September 27th to vote on the bipartisan deal. And then Pelosi this week has continued to breach it by saying we'll vote on the bipartisan deal on Thursday without the reconciliation deal ready. So it's Pelosi, Schumer, and Biden, of course, approves of it because Biden really wants, if you ask me, Biden really, really wants the $1.2 trillion bipartisan infrastructure deal because for him, it's not a matter of what is the good policy, what will actually help the most working class people. What will help the most working class people is the 3.5 trillion reconciliation deal, which actually has a lot in there for families. All Biden cares about is this fetish he has with striking a bipartisan deal so he could break the fever in Washington, D.C. But let me tell you what bipartisan means, code. Bipartisan is just code for what will please the donors. In terms of Stephanie Murphy, who I just showed her interview with Jake Tupperware, we didn't play it, but she said later on in the interview, nobody's going to leverage their vote. No one's going to leverage their vote to convince me to vote a certain way. I vote for the people. Well, do you vote for the people or Blackstone, who's your top donor in your career? Cigna Corp, Big Healthcare, Council of Insurance Agents and Brokers. Yeah. Talk about the proletariat on your donor sheet. Blue Cross Blue Shield, massive healthcare company. Venture Partners, Bridge Investment Group. I mean, this woman's donor sheets, maybe this is why she refuses to vote for the 3.5 trillion reconciliation deal. But CNN, Politico, all of these political nerds, they just make it like this sports event. Like, who's going to blink first? Who's going to fold? Whose stomach is stronger? And they just leave out the most important thing. These people are corrupt. These people are bought off. These people are evil and literally voting against the interests of the people who voted for them and they're supposed to represent, because their donors are bankrolling them. And it's just a continual power play for these people to stay in office so they don't have to get a real job.